Unless you've got severe brain damage, you have a chance. That's it. You have a chance. Okay. And realize what you're going through, Again, it's not your worth. It's not punishment for anything. It's not parents' fault. It's not your fault. It's a lesson that you've been learned. My legacy is, I never know how many people have helped. We have 11,000 patients, but I speak at conferences. So, it could be 17 million. We used to watch Eye Open. I was on there 3 times a week. But I know this, guys, when I get to heaven and I'm stood in front of God, it's not going to ask me, how much was that car? How much was that Bentley? But how much is that house? Look at them gold Rolex. How much? It's not going to ask me that. It's going to ask me, I believe, one simple question. How many people did you help? I want a big number. So that's my legacy. I will never stop working. I will never retire. I feel the best shape of my life. I feel psychologically the best shape of my life right now. And I think there's a lot more work to be done.
What's up, Warriors? Most people think addiction is about weak willpower. They think it's about bad decisions. They think it's about a lack of discipline. Today's guest was homeless for 14 months on the streets of Manchester. He was battling alcohol dependence, and now he teaches that addiction isn't about the substance at all. Dr. Kelly, welcome to the Battle Harder podcast.
Thank you so much, man. Great to be here.
So when did you realize that the problem wasn't the alcohol, but the brain behind it?
So I'm homeless at the time. I'm stood outside a liquor store back in England, probably 5 a.m. in the morning. I've got a pair of shorts on, string vest, a pair of flip-flops. It's snowing, and I'm sweating profusely, which basically means that I'm going into DTs. So unless I get alcohol in my body or hospital in the next 40 minutes or so, probably going to die. The guy inside the store opens it every morning. Not supposed to sell alcohol till 10 a.m. in England, but he knows who I am. He lets me in. And whatever reason is there, shaking that bad. I put my £10 on the counter. He put the bottle, and this was my reaction. Headaches went, shake stopped. I felt amazing. I'm having conversations with him. It was like in slow motion. I looked over to the shopkeeper, looked back in the box, and went, holy shit, it's not the alcohol. Because the cap was still on. I was just holding it. And that's where all my research, years and years of research, over $1.5 million of research, tests, trials, to find out more about the brain, more about how we deal with it and exactly what's going on. It's definitely not the alcohol or drugs or sex or food or porn. It's definitely not that.
So you're a PhD, you've been on national television, you've worked with high-level institutions. What's the biggest misconception people have about the addiction the moment they hear recovery expert?
That you can stop anytime. Or it's about, if we could just stop drinking alcohol, if we could stop taking drugs, everything will be good. And it's like, yeah, you tried that 20 times before. So that's the biggest one. It's kind of your choice. It becomes a choice, they say. Well, our research with the hypothalamus said it's not a choice. It's a disease. Alcoholism is a disease.
Right.
Drug addiction is not a disease. It's the addictive personality. Both show up the same, both just as bad. But the alcoholic is born with 3 parts of the brain that differ to any other addiction.
And, when you were in the store and shaking, is that when you personally realized that the willpower wasn't the answer?
Yes, because I was a fighter growing up. I grew up on the lower projects, no money, fight every day to survive. So I knew about power, I knew about fighting stuff, but I couldn't fight alcoholism. It knocked me on my backside every single time, and I could not beat it for the life of me.
Wow. And 14 months, I mean, that's quite a long time to be homeless in Manchester. Like, what did that time or season actually look like for you? And not from the outside, but what was going on inside your head at this time? Were you just chasing the booze, or, was it from a rough life? What did that look like?
Yeah, I was drinking every single day. The losses, I lost 2 girls, ages 1 and 3. My 2 kids were taken off me. So I had that going on, and everything that I'd lost, all the money, wife, everything, cars, houses, and just dulling them thoughts every day. I couldn't get through the day without alcohol. So I was numbing them thoughts. I was dead inside and I died twice on the streets. I tried to commit suicide 7 times, and on 2 occasions, my heart stopped and they brought me back to life. And I hated them men for that. Hated them men for that. Because I just didn't want to live. I tried everything, jumping off buildings, tying myself to railway tracks, overdosing, cutting my arms, still scars today. Always got found, always got taken to the hospital, never died.
Well, I'm happy that you're still here and we're having this conversation. So, why do you think when we hit rock bottom that we turn to alcohol and drugs and porn and all that, stuff that makes us numb the pain or feel good, so to speak?
Well, it's just that. It's numbing the pain. It's getting out of your own head. It's stepping away from reality. All them things add up to, I hate my life. I don't want to live. So I'm going to jump in. I'm going to find something that takes me out of me completely. And that's when the addiction starts and continues unless anything's done about it. But again, it's childhood trauma, tracing that back. Everybody has it. We don't clear that up, and that can start addiction. Food can start addiction. Lack of methylation, we tie that to addiction. So there's lots of ways we can end up like that, despite our upbringings.
So for someone like me that has PTSD, depression, and all those good mental health issues, am I more susceptible to going down these paths of self-numbing the pain from everything that I deal with?
Well, alcoholics are born, drug addicts are made. You can't drink enough alcohol to become an alcoholic. You can take enough drugs to become a drug addict. So I want to get that out of the way. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, your prime example, depression. Depression is, we're trying to change the way people look at depression, because here's a scenario. Lady comes into the office. Dr. Robb, I'm so depressed. I am so sorry, Mrs. Smith. How long has it been going on for? 5 years. 5 years? Oh my goodness. Do you take anything for that? Yeah, I take Wellbutrin. How long have you been taking Wellbutrin? About 3 years. When did you think it's going to kick in? Obviously not kicked in yet, because you're still taking the medication. So pharmaceutical drugs are really need looking at, obviously. But yeah, I mean, anybody who's depressed going to go down that route. Not necessarily that a depressive person will try and self-sabotage any way they can, and then blame the depression. And again, depression is so real. We've had a couple of high-profile people pass away from depression. So when somebody says just pull out of it, no, that's not true. Although depression in the medical dictionary is lack of serotonin. Why is my serotonin low in the first place? Then we tie that to the childhood trauma, the upbringing that we've had. And it's a time bomb. It really is. And the only way to punish yourself and take control, because this is what it's about. Drugs are about taking control. Sex is taking control. Porn is taking control. It's not trying to, just take stuff to get. We take control of that little bit while depressed. So that's the only thing we can manage in our lives. Sounds sick, but it's the truth.
And, I like what you said there about all that stuff. And I think, especially for me and what I do, that's why mindset is so important, because I tell people all the time with my mental health issues, I have to typically work twice as hard not to go down that insanity loop of feeling sorry for myself or wanting to commit suicide or doing drugs or alcohol. And I think people get messed up with, I don't like how meds make me feel, or they don't realize that when you have mental health issues, you essentially have to be a guinea pig on yourself and keep trying medicine until you find what works. But even then, when something works, as I was having a conversation with my counselor today, the drugs that I'm on, they stopped working. And then my psych upped my dosage and they still aren't working. So that means I have to try something else. It doesn't mean that I keep taking the same thing for 5 years. It's the same example of, if you keep putting food in your mouth and you don't do anything about it and you don't exercise and you don't move, you're just going to blow up and get fat and nothing's going to change. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. We took a deep dive into medication pertaining to psych meds. There's a lot of dangerous stuff out there that doesn't do the job. When you're taking a pill that helps 6, 7, 12, 15 other ailments or illnesses, there's something wrong. So yeah, I took Wellbutrin for a bit, but yeah, change of lifestyle and stuff like that is what I went for. Once we studied the conscious and subconscious brain, we realized that you can change your mind and do anything that you want to do.
Definitely.
Anything that you want to do. So homeless, I have 4 businesses now. 4 businesses, multi-million-dollar businesses, from a homeless guy who grew up on the projects, an alcoholic who stabbed his wife 3 times because she wouldn't let him finish a bottle of vodka, lost everything. Once you can get this sorted out, you can achieve anything you want to do. And people don't believe that's possible. And it happens all around us. The psyche, the energy, the subconscious brain, conscious brain, the central nervous system that you can change the world around you. It's like you can't change your friends, but you can change your friends, and this is what people struggle with. It's surely it can't be that easy, but the vibration that we give out, we get back. So if we're miserable and not succeeding, we're going to attract those people. If we're intelligent or like me, streetwise and business minded, you're going to attract those kind of people. But once the two start to mix, there's a lot of dreams ruined. Because remember, when we was at home, we used to kick a ball. Jimmy, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was passing the ball. I want to be a doctor. What about you, Rob? I want to be a musician. What happened to them dreams? I'll tell you, they were kicked out of us by family and friends. So you have to go back, uncover, discover, discard of all that stuff you went through that sat in the subconscious brain that causes the depression. You don't empty this, you're going to be taking meds the rest of your life.
And I believe in all that wholeheartedly, especially as a mindset guy. And, guys, I want you to run this back. When people give you valuable information like this, run it back, listen to it 2 times, 3 times, hell, 10 times, and get it in your head and in your identity that you don't have to let trauma, depression, mental health, anything define you. Like you literally, he's saying it, from homeless to freaking multi-million-dollar businesses. You just have to get to that point where you have that mindset shift and you're like, this is not appropriate behavior anymore. I have one life to live. Time is not infinite and I need to get off my ass and do what I have to do to be successful. Treating causes versus symptoms. You're very clear where treating symptoms, not causes. Break that down for us. What's the difference between treating behavior and treating the brain?
Well, behaviors learned behavior, obviously, from childhood. Teachers, caregivers, parents, monkey see, monkey do. That's how we learn stuff at home. And then comes the verbal stuff. But 90% of communication is nonverbal. So the behavior side of anything that you do today, addiction, depression, we're all in a pattern. Everybody's in a pattern that loops and loops and loops. That's called the basal ganglia part of the brain. It just loops and loops. And unless you get out of that, and with alcoholics, the basal ganglia is it goes to a default setting. Imagine a clock face, 12 o'clock, we relapse, 10 after, we're still out there, 20 after, we try and get sober, 1:30, the wife lets us in. At 20 to the hour, we got an interview for that job. And at 10 to the hour, we smash everything down again. We're all in patterns and we're all learned behavior from the people around us. If you hang around new people, you will start to do what they do and vice versa. So the guy that came out with, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. When I heard that, it was like, oh my goodness. Yes, that's the one, If you hang around 90 millionaires, you're going to become the 10. Well, I'm from the project. I'm never going to mix with no millionaires. What a waste of sentence that is. Of course you can. 2026, you can join any group you want. You can be anybody you want to be. Because I'm not into politics. No one's done anything for me. I'm a self-made millionaire. I don't care who runs the car. I don't get involved in that because it's not my place. But here's the deal. We cannot ignore the fact that several years ago, we had a businessman running the country with no political experience whatsoever. Don't dare tell me you can't achieve your dreams. Somebody's put that there.
I love that. And I like to go down the rabbit hole of the government can't decide how I live. I can make my own money. I can do my own things. I can live my own life. I think today we're too very reliant on the government. But for someone that's stuck in that insanity loop of that pattern of just self-destruction, what's like the first thing you would recommend they do?
You need to start dialogue with somebody, guys. You can't. See, we've just gone over a few things and some people go, oh, that's a great idea. Other people, well, I can't just do that. Start dialogue with somebody. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Start dialogue, start talking to people around you, go and see a professional if need be. But depression doesn't have to be forever. It doesn't have to define you. Look at your lack of serotonin, first of all. Let's see what you're eating. So the food we eat now, 90% of the food we eat, 90% are rancid and plastic food. If you're picking a health bar off, we did this live on TV a few months ago. I went in a supermarket, into a store, and there's this well-known brand, and it had 9 grams of protein and 0 fat. And the guy said, "Hey, look at this. It's like, it looks amazing." You spin it around, look at the ingredients. First ingredient, canola oil. Second ingredient, sunflower oil. And here's what people don't recognize. When we eat something, it's not using the source that we eat it. It has to be methylated into a source that the body can use. If it's not methylated, there's a deficiency. The deficiency causes the illnesses. You cannot pass heart disease down through the family. It's the staple food that we're eating and the way we treat our body and other things around us, of course. But if you're not getting that methylation, well, 90% you're not. Canola oil, you just look. McDonald's fries in England, and I'm American, by the way, despite my accent, became American. If we went to war tomorrow, I'm American. I want to say that because what I'm going to say here is not me. It's not good. McDonald's fries some years ago, and we tested them, had 4 ingredients in it. McDonald's fries over here has 22 ingredients in it.
Oof.
You go over there, bread has 3 ingredients. Flour, water, yeast, or whatever it is you put in it. Over here, there's like 20 ingredients. You can leave a loaf of bread that I bought from the store. I can leave it at home outside. It's going to last me at least 4 weeks for anything happens. You go, I have a British restaurant. We make bread British way. You stick that on the side for more than 2 days, it'll start going off and start going moldy. So we're ingesting all this crap. Nobody's telling us, and nobody's saying it's rancid. And we continue because McDonald's used to be free in the stores. Buy this, that's free. We buy. It's killing us on a daily basis, and we don't know, and it affects everything around us. So I'm not asking anybody to go out to Whole Foods and spend $1,000 on a week's grocery. Just be sensible. If you've got like Fruit Loops, which are banned everywhere else, there's always an alternative. Always look at the ingredients. The ingredients are your key to life. If you can't pronounce an ingredient, and
you shouldn't be eating it, right?
Because they dress all them sugars up in like nice words and everything. And once you start looking them up, you'll find out the substance that you're eating, which is 0.1%, is also used to make tires, or is also used to bleach. It's insane, guys. So food, depression, food, addiction, food, weight gain, food, miserable. You just got to look at it and change it bit by bit. I have just lost 152, I think 53 pounds.
Wow.
Because when I was, my best friend, Gary Brecker, he was teaching me this stuff. I'm like, what? That can't be true. And over the years, I just piled it on and didn't notice. So I just started looking at stuff and being sensible. 20-minute walk every day, lift 2 or 3 times a week, lift anything, the sofa, the seat, I don't care what it is, just lift something, especially if you're over 50, and you'll start feeling a lot better.
And guys, I mean, as someone who is in the fitness industry, this is everything I preach to you guys all the time. And I guess it's safe to say that if we're eating all this food that has all this chemicals, man-made, it's not natural, does that have some chemical effect on our brain?
Oh my goodness, yeah. Oh my goodness. We could go to the store right now and we could pick up 5, 6 random stuff. And the ingredients in that random stuff, random as in anything, there'll be ingredients in there that's altering the brain chemistry that you will never get back. Why is dementia gone up? Why is Alzheimer's skyrocketing? Why is obesity? It's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy how illnesses have just blown up from nowhere. Diabetes. It's unbelievable. And the crazy thing is nobody wants to treat this, because if they can't put you in a hospital, give you a pill, good to the pharmaceutical industry or the doctors, they don't really want to know that. And we see this 100 times a day where people are looking at things. We look at all of mind illnesses, loss of memory, all that stuff is down to the food that we eat in the lifestyle and our thought patterns. Because listen to this, but if you don't believe me, listen to this. So you've got some pain in your stomach, okay? You know, you're chatting to your friend on that. Yeah, I'm going to see the doctor. I won't be a second. Mr. Kelly, oh, hang on, it's my turn. You go in, you're doing good, sit down, chatting to the doctor, and he said, oh my God, Dr. Kelly, you have cancer in your stomach. My mind switched straight away to I have cancer in the stomach. So I'm telling myself internally with internal dialogue that I have cancer of the stomach and I'm going to die. When I walk out of that room, it's absolutely shocking. My face, I can't walk. I'm keeling over because now I feel sick. Well, how do we know this? Okay. So we had two guys and the names were John Brown and Bill Brown in Dallas 9-10 years ago. And they were both used to come in the same days. One day, I bid one goodbye and he left, and the other one was on his way, or we didn't know this then, but secretary walks in, Mr. J. Smith's wife's just died, huge car accident. That's why he couldn't get older when he called her from here. I don't know what to do. I don't know when they can't get hold of him. So I tried calling him and he answered. And I said, you need to pull off to the side of the road. I've got some bad news. And he pulled over and he's like, what's going on, Dr. Robb? I said, your wife's been killed in this horrific car accident. Everything went. He was holding on. He was being sick. He was crying. He was dizzy. He collapsed on the floor. And I said, where are you? I'll get one of my guys to come home and pick you up. And 5 or 6 minutes went by and the secretary burst in again and said, oh my God, it's the wrong Mr. Smith. It's the other one on the way here that's wife died and they can't get hold of him. So I called the guy back and I was so apologetic, like we've got it wrong, we've got it wrong. But, and this is what we took from this, verbally, with words, over the phone, I changed every single cell in his body with
in an instant.
Isn't that crazy? So most of the stuff we tell ourselves, you know, drop a pen on, oh, you idiot, Rob, stop that stuff, guys. Stop that, because that sits in the subconscious brain. Everything you think from birth is in there. The brain protects us from it to stop us going insane. But all that self-dialogue sticks in there. Did you know when it comes into the prefrontal cortex and the conscious mind? When you're going for that job, that girl, that car, that whatever you do to better yourself, you'll get what a stupid idiot. And you won't hear that because it's subliminal messaging from subconscious, but your actions will make sure that you don't get that job. And you'll go, well, it's just one of those things. No, I mean, I can't stress enough how many people I've led. I have over 11,000 patients now that I've treated. Almost every one of them. We have like a 98% success rate. I've gone on to do amazing things. Because once you realize what the conscious brain against the subconscious brain, which wakes us up in the morning, guys, the subconscious brain, when you flip that around, you start to see these opportunities that were always around you, but you were never able to see them with the stresses of life, with the trauma, with the addictions, with the worrying. Yep. If you're worrying about money and not enough money, guess what? You're going to not have enough money. Whatever we focus on, the brain takes in as being real. The brain doesn't know the difference between the truth and the false. So if we're giving it false information on no evidence, by the way, I can't do this, I'm not going to know. Where's the evidence for that? Where's the evidence that you can't build a multi-million-dollar business? Because if we both went to court, talking to Mr. Smith out there, if we both went to court tomorrow and you brought all the evidence you have of not building this empire, and I brought all the evidence I have for you to build this empire, I would have 20 boxes, you would have a single piece of paper. And do you know what the judge will do? He'll throw you out of court and he may stick you in jail for a couple of days for wasting the court's time. But we think all the time, no, stop that crap. Stop it. You are capable of doing everything. Anybody has a niche in life. Find it, clear your childhood trauma out, find out your identity. And once we find our identity, men and women, we become in the nicest possible way very dangerous people. Because we've got the streetwise, we've got the education that we do, we know where we've been. I signed an office deal several years ago in Dallas for $1 million over like 20 years. And my friend was like, oh my God, how'd you sleep at night, Rob? I'm like, what are they going to do? Take the office off me? I don't give a shit about that. Why are you worried about that stuff? What, they can't take my birthday off me. They can't take Christmas off me. What are they going to do? You see, there's nothing that they can do to me that I haven't already done to myself. And ask me if I give a shit what people think about me. Oh, I stopped that years ago, man. And what you'll find, guys, if you follow these instructions and you start to climb, people then become jealous of you. Everyone's jealous about what I have, but nobody's jealous how I got here.
Yep.
And that's the thing. No one will ever criticize you guys that's doing as good as you or better. It's always the fat guy at home behind his mum's computer, 35 years old, kids don't see him, wife's divorced him 4 times. It's that guy that's trying to tell me how to live my life. And I'm done with that shit, guys. I really am.
And, we know that obviously anything that we want to do and do it well, it takes, I always equate it to the gym. You have to get the reps in, right? You have to get the reps in, get the reps in. So for someone that has a limiting belief system, what's the number one tip you would get them to start having a limitless belief system?
When you get up to the morning, guys, I'm going to give you some morning routine towards the end. But when you get up in the morning after the morning routine, get a pen and paper, not phone, not computer, hand, pen, paper, and write down 4 things that you're going to complete that day. 4 things, random. Don't start too hard, like, build a table or something. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, walk the dog. And make sure you do them 4 things every day. If you only do 3 of them,
you didn't win the day.
Go drink, do whatever you want to do. You're not in the game. 4 things, pretty simple every single day. We start retraining again. We go back to patterns, retraining the brain for success. So every time you complete something, then you move on. It's stored in the subconscious brain. So here's the question. If 300 neural pathways die every day, which they do, neural pathways are thought patterns, guys. I didn't know that years ago, but 300 die every day. What are you replacing them with? Same old crap, the same old patterns, the same old thought patterns. Got to change. You got to change, man, because you will never realize how many people you help, how many people look up to you. Everybody is a leader. Yeah. Well, leaders are born. Everybody is a freaking leader. You've just got to find your platform and your stage to lead on.
And, I talk, everything you're saying, I say over and over and over. So guys, like, once again, pay attention to what I say, because the information I give you isn't any different than what most guests say on my show. I always talk about winning the day. And I tell you, for me, I make my bed every day. That's the first thing I do. If I make the bed, guess what? I completed a task. It's a win. I go to the gym first thing in the morning. As long as I do my workout, I complete my task. It's a win. And especially, we have to get back to writing stuff down on paper. Write down what you need to do for the day, cross it out as you get it done. If you get those 3 things done, like, Dr. Robb said, guess what? It's a win. And be happy about that and start retraining that brain and changing those thought patterns. It's not easy. Guys, I have depression. I have PTSD. I've been fighting all my life. But the one thing that I'll tell you all day, every day, I always try to live my best. I always try to be happy. I always try to change my mindset. Does it always work? No. Sometimes I just have bad days. But the goal in your life is to have more good days than bad. And I can't stress that enough how many times I've said this. So, Dr. Robb, when your patients started to change and they're having these transformations, what was that moment that the transformation that they had gave you that your own recovery really didn't?
I see changes from day one. People always call us up, when will I see a difference? Day one. That's impossible. Yeah, people have been saying that all their lives. Come on, coming down. So day one, it changes. I'm just excited today, 30 years ago, from my first patient, because I watched the change. We use neuroscience here. So we're not particularly doctors. We're all PhDs, but we're more neuroscientists. So actually PhDs, behavioral science and psychology. The neuroscience that we've been studying for the last 10, 12 years before it was neuroscience tells us everything we need to know. So we 100% guarantee the people when they come through the door that they will recover from wherever they go. We treat anything from Alzheimer's to depression to anxiety, PTSD, addiction. We guarantee that they'll recover. And I say to them, if you don't, I'll refund your money. And my wife gets so annoyed at that because there's always one person out there. But no, we're doing this a long time. We work with governments, the profilers, A-list celebrities, the CIA, all that stuff. We love what we do. We're aggressive about what we do. Like we're the only company, I think. I think we're the only company that you have to pass an assessment to get in. I only check 4 patients every 3 months. Now I have 5 offices around the world, and I have staff. So the staff, the counselors and stuff, we take about 50 people we have right now, but me only take 4. So you have to pass the assessment to prove to us that that you're ready to start. And we turn moms down and dads down probably weekly now, where they bring a big checkbook in and go, hey, just fix my son. And we go, yeah, we're not the place to do that, man. You know, we're not going to take anybody we can't cure apart from alcoholism, but there's no cure for alcoholism, but there's no cure for the common cold or food poisoning. It's the way we carry ourselves and do certain things every single day, clear the trauma up. But yeah, I mean, that light on in the eyes, that belief, that text at 10 o'clock at night time because they've done something crazy. They've gone to a nightclub, they've sat down with a friend and they couldn't socialize before. That text that I get, because I still answer the phone and I still get the text, I still have patience. And that, the knowledge today I didn't have back then. I had to do it the hard way with all the stuff. So one of the reasons at 65 is I'm still working, because I don't have to, that's for sure, is if we can save a life. Like, you won't see me coming on today and go, okay, please come and see us, robbkelly.com. Come to it. We don't have to work. We do it different, man. Everyone thinks that. Some people ask me, have you ever been on a podcast before? And I go, yeah, maybe a couple. But we turn down 20 podcasts a month. 20. And what Courtney goes, she goes out and she finds people that are changing the world, like you. And then we humbly approach you. Because my ambition and my deal today is, if we can save a life between us, job done, man. If we give someone inspiration, that's why I do podcasts. Other people sell the stuff, and that's fine. I'm past that stage, but I'm still want to be giving back. We have a nonprofit. We giving back, give my time. We give about $150,000. Me and my wife have a personal bank account back into communities, and it's all about giving and just being the best person, like you said, as you can be. So once you clear this up in the past, it's not a death sentence, man. That doesn't define you. It now becomes your greatest asset going forward. Because you go, yeah, what do you know, doctor? I've seen your cars and your houses, and what do you know, homeless? Check. Like what? Check. All been checked, man. And that's why I'm a true believer that if you haven't suffered from alcoholism, you cannot help anybody who suffers from alcoholism. I don't care how many degrees you have, it makes no difference, because we're a different breed. Depressive people are a different breed. You have to understand what they're going through. You can't just say, just stop drinking because of your kids. Once the hypothalamus gets involved in the brain, all bets are off.
And, I love that. I think having a service mindset is very important in today's world, especially when everything's crumbling around us. And I agree with you 100% when, people talk to me or ask me or even come at me, oh, how can you talk about depression and mental health and mindset? Because I've lived it, because I go through it, because I know how it makes me feel. I know it's worked for me to overcome it. So my life skills, the things that I've seen and been through, is what gives me the qualifications to help. And I'm not a doctor. I don't try to treat the problem. I give people, tips, tricks, and tools to better their life and start the healing process and help them see a different perspective. And we were talking earlier about, not giving a shit about what people think about us. How do you feel that approval seeking keeps people stuck in an addiction cycle?
Well, it's all scared of what people might think, scared of change. If you put yourself out there. I went from years and years with haters just coming on and, look at him, who's think he is, all that crazy, hurtful stuff. But you get to a point in life, either financially or, in my case, both age and financially, where you get up one morning and go, do you know something? I'm going to shit anymore. It was like 1,000-pound weight off my shoulders. But in the early stages, guys, it's hard. So the thing I always say to my guys is concentrate with the people around you who lift you up every day and vice versa, and stop looking at the comments. Stop looking at the face, because who's making them comments? That fat guy is 40 in his mom's basement. That's who's making the comments. Life is real. Life needs to be lived. Don't give a shit what people think about you. And I only got to here about 5 years ago. It was a big struggle all my life, because I'm out there. I've done TV shows, wrote books. People always like to have a go at you on because, like, it's keyboard warriors. Back in my day, if you said half the stuff that people say to me online, you got a punch in the face.
Yeah.
Because that's how we sorted it out back in the day. But you're not going to be able to stop them, guys. So ignore them. Just ignore them. You know, even if you're suffering depression, just ignore them, guys.
Block them and move on. Like, don't let that destroy you. I think we live too much behind screens nowadays. And, you know, one of my things that I do is when I wake up in the morning, I take my phone with me, but that phone does not get looked at until I'm done with my workout. You know, had my breakfast, took my shower. When I'm ready to start my day officially, that's when I look at the cell phone. That's when I check emails. Now, obviously, if my wife calls and it's an emergency or something, I'll answer it. Other than that, you're not freaking hindering Coach Robb's mindset and his time, because time is valuable and my peace is valuable. So, you know, guys, like, just nuggets and nuggets of everything I say being dropped another way from a doctor who went through hell and now he's on the other side doing big, wonderful, beautiful things. And you can do it too. I've done it. He's done it. You can do it. So my tagline for the business or for the podcast has always been turning pain into progress. And when I mean pain, I don't necessarily mean physical pain. I just mean the pains of life that we go through. What does turning pain into progress mean to you, especially when you said talking about not forgetting where you've come from?
In my line of work and the way my life is today, I'm on private jets, you know, $100 million jets when these actors fly me over. I have chauffeurs. I get treated 5-star hotel, all this stuff. It's very important that you don't forget where you come from, because there's been a few instances that I started to believe that shit. Like, I've never watched myself on TV. I won't watch this podcast. I've never read my book, because I'll start buying into that hype. And it's dangerous for me to do that. So feet in the trenches is our tagline. As long as I keep my feet in the trenches, keeping it real, I can seek as high as I want to do, as high as I want to be, you know, but it's very important. Once you find your identity, there's no such thing as ego. Oh, what's your ego, Rob? You're buying that bigger hat. What's your ego? Shut up. Ego went when he took my kids off me, crying out my arms. Daddy, please stop drinking is the last thing my daughter said to me 30 years ago. You know, that's where my ego, I don't have ego. I walk with God because he saved me off the streets. I give back, I help people. I reach down to the gutter and pass them on to God as quick as I can. And we do great things, man. So turning that pain into something good is basically this. If you're going through pain, if you're going through whatever you're going through, this isn't a punishment, guys. This is like a semester at Harvard University. So if you're sat at home, you're a mom, dad's gone because he's a no good piece of crap. There's 2 kids, you've got a small apartment. This is a crossroads. I love crossroads for you. This is where you start building your life without other people interfering. Because there's millions of stories. J.K. Rowling was told so many times, she's got 2 kids at home on the projects, a little flat that the government paid for. It's a piece of crap. No, she got a mindset right. She knew she was onto something. And she moved forward, and her pain became her success. And my pain has become my greatest asset going forward, and yours as well. I don't want to. You go to treatment centers or other places, they got 4 or 5% success rate. We don't deal with the problem. We deal with your life. We'll build your websites. We'll get you work. We'll whatever we need to do to get you back in front of the world and changing the world, we will do, because you're worth it. And people need to start believing this. Stop believing what the other people are. They're not your guys, man. I don't care if they're family or not. If they're not lifting you up every day, walk away.
Yeah, I've said multiple times, you know, there's that saying, you're the sum of your 5 closest friends. And if you, like you said, you had started to adopt a personality of whoever you're around. And for me, you know, I wanted to be around high profile people that I looked up to. And as I started finding my way to get to them and talk to them and speak to them, well, guess what? More opportunities opened because I was behaving like them and I was doing the things that they did and I was learning from them. And, you know, we were talking about ego. How does ego show up in recovery, especially if you said technically there is no ego? And how do you prevent someone from replacing addiction with another unhealthy identity?
So only when you've done your work, going through the work of, the childhood trauma and then the neuroscience work today that you need to do, you then become ego free and all that stuff, and we go on and do some great things. But at the beginning, it's really hard, you know. The first opportunity, I come from the projects, man. We couldn't afford a vacation with the school kids to the local park, which was a mile down the road. It's probably 2 pennies. My parents couldn't afford to do that. Yet they could go out every Friday and Saturday night and drink alcohol till the middle of the morning, but we weren't allowed to go. And I was at the bottom of the bottom. So when you do start, all I wanted to do is prove to everybody around me that I was worth something. So when I bought a new car, look, I was trying to show my car off, and I bought my first little, I look, because I had nothing, guys. I had nothing. And it's natural to want to show people until you get to a point where, you know, it makes no difference what I drive today or where I live, but you've got to keep that ego in check in the early days until you get the patterning away from that, jumping back into the addictive, the depression, the anxiety cycle. Because once something goes around the basal ganglia, like a pilot, commercial pilot needs 10,000 hours in the air. So let's say the basal ganglia, look at it as a repetition thing. 10,000 of these becomes a working part of the brain. The pilot can fly, don't even think about it. Take off, go to sleep, come back. That's what happens with all of our activities. You have to do it enough, a repetitive action, to become a working part of the mind. So if you're teaching, listening to, hearing negativity around you, you'll repeat that negativity. Or if you start to believe that you're egoistic or watch your ego, no, do your work. No such thing as ego. Just do the work, guys. And people, what is the work? The work is the childhood trauma that everybody in the world suffers from. And if you don't think you have childhood trauma, you're probably one of the worst cases that we've seen. You've got to do the work on yourself. You need the subliminal messaging, the NLP. You need the somatic experience. You need the psychology, the neuroscience, you need breathwork, all these tools that we have around us to pull you into a different place. But neuroscience is the game changer. If you realize what's going up here, it's unbelievable who you can be. You get to choose your own world, man. Listen, if you're in a job that you hate, the boss is always nagging you, get another job, man. If you're going home to the wife or husband every night and you're walking on eggshell, get another wife or husband. Well, it's not that easy. It really is that easy. Step to the fear. Step into. There was a girl in Manchester, England, 1969, got snatched off the side of the street. Schoolgirl, 15, 16 years old, school uniform, blonde hair, blue eyes. The media went frenzy over this. It was in every paper in England. There's a manhunt for about 3 months, and they started to pull people off till there was only one person on it. 9 months later, a police car is traveling down a country road behind another car. He's got a broken backlight, so he pulls them over. Now, back in the day, they had no checks or anything. They couldn't check your vehicles. So they asked you a simple question. Hey, sir, is your car? Yeah, it's my car. What's in the trunk? Yellow jacket, pair of boots. Open it up, the edge. Yeah, it's good. They did it with this guy. He was cagey, but they found a stolen screwdriver there. Now they go back to the house to find what else he's stolen. And sure enough, there were lawnmowers, ladders, there were drills that he's stolen over the years. Wow. But they found this big box in the corner, 4 foot high-ish, 12 foot wide-ish, had a big padlock on. And they said, we know you've got more stolen stuff in there. And he denied all knowledge of the box. So they smashed the lock off and they opened it. There was a girl that was missing 9 months ago. She was bruised, she was battered, but she was alive. He took her every day. You can imagine what he did. He bathed, food, back in for 9 freaking months. And the policewoman leant over, helped this little girl out of the box, took her police coat off her, and she wrapped it around the little girl. What's the first thing she did? The little girl got back in the box. And that's what people do with their life. They would rather suffer in an uncomfortable, painful situation because it's well known. They know what's going to happen rather than step forward into the unknown, because human beings don't like the unknown. They'd rather stay. And it's about smashing that box, guys, and pushing yourself as fast as you are. Slow. It makes no difference. Change comes from within. Healing comes from within. You think the medications around are helping you? I ask people all the time, when have you gone to the doctors? Is give you a medication for your ailment. You've taken the medication. It's cured your ailment, so you never have to take the medication again.
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen, So the healing, I'm my own healer. You're your own healer. We heal from the inside out, not from the outside in. But my version of me here, my worth of me here, this is what's real. What you tell me and do, I cannot feel that way unless I give you permission to offend this, and you're not getting it today.
Yeah, and I love that. And I've talked about this before on other episodes and with podcasts that I've guested on. And you're right that it's always easier to be comfortable in the bad stuff and the bad shit we go through. And in case in point, I was married to my ex-wife for 18 years, and for 18 years I was miserable. And for those 18 years, I was like, oh, I don't want to go through what I have to go through when you get divorced. Well, guess what? I got divorced and I went through it anyway. And what happened is once I healed from that and made sure that I could still see my kids and be with my children and all that good stuff, I met the most amazing woman of my life. And she's been, my rock and my support system and been there for me forever. And at the end of the day, even when I talk to people that, want to get divorced, when I'm coaching them or whatever, I tell them, don't do it for the kids. You have one life. If you're miserable in the marriage, you're going to make the kids miserable. Do it for you. Do what you have to do to be happy. Because like you said, at the end of the day, if we can get into that darkness and just get into it, we can overcome it quicker than pussyfooting around and saying, I can't do this. I can't get through this. I can't. So, with shame and people that have shame, is that one of the biggest drivers of relapse? And if so, how do you help someone separate their behavior from their identity?
The shame it goes straight back to childhood trauma again. It's all childhood trauma, the stuff we pick up. And the only thing with my generation and maybe between, 40 and 60 is the trauma was normalized. Sexual trauma was normalized. Violent trauma was normalized back in the day. See, what happens is the little girl who's grown up in the house, the violent alcoholic house, where she sees at the age of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, she sees dad coming home 2 or 3 times a week, drunk and getting into a fist fight with mom. So she sees the violence. The next morning when they all get up, husband says, oh, I'm so sorry. And wife says, oh, it's okay. I love you. I love you too. I'll never do it again. The little girl equates violence to love. So when she does finally leave the house, she's going to attract the same guy that's violent, probably alcoholic, ends up beating her. To the fact, and we've researched the shit out of this, to the fact that if she meets a good guy, she'll self-sabotage that relationship. So the two sides of the coin there, we need to look at and really get to know yourself, because shame will stop you dead from doing anything. And you got to ask yourself the question, what have you got to be ashamed about? Well, stop and think, guys. What do you have to be ashamed about? Well, when I was an alcoholic, yeah, you had a deadly disease for which there's no cure. Carry on. Because if I had cancer and did some of the things you won't come to me and blame me for everything because I have cancer, I'm sick. But people don't see the depression. You know yourself. What is depression like? It's definitely not this. It's definitely, hey, buddy, how you doing? Robin Williams. Oh, my God. That's what depression looks like.
Yeah.
So you have to internally find out what people are going through and then step into what's the worst can happen, man. You step forward into something away from the shame. You've got to do the work on the shame, though. The guilt, remorse, the shame. You've got to do your work on that. And again, using neuroscience to go back, uncover, discover, discard of each stuff will take you out of shame. When you've got nothing to be ashamed of, even stabbing my wife, losing my kids, all that stuff, I've dealt with that. So there is no shame. There's no guilt. I'm free of all that stuff. And it's probably why I don't look 65. I don't carry that shit anymore. But if I look back after the weight loss, oh my God, I'm so sorry. After the weight loss, I look 70. 5, 6 or 7 years ago, I looked 70 years old.
Wow.
Getting rid of that stuff. After all these time being, in recovery and working on myself, I only 5 or 6 years ago do a deep dive with somebody and get rid of all that stuff. And the world looks different. The world will still be the same when you go through stuff or not. It's just that you'll see it different. Your perspective on the true or false is yours. Nobody else's. So I met Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day. It was about 1978, 79, when he came to Manchester, England, and we were all into bodybuilding. So we got picked to go and pick him up. And we picked him up at the airport, beautiful guy, took him back to the hotel. And we spent the first evening just chilling out and ordering food and stuff. And I said to him, Arnold, the bodybuilding's amazing, man. You've just taken it to the next level. You can't really speak English. His English was terrible. Nothing like it. So, but what are you going to do after that? And this is what stuck with me. He says, I'm going to do 3 things. I was like, oh, really? He said, yeah. I said, what's the first one? First one, I'm going to become the biggest, highest paid movie star in the world. Well, I nearly fell off the chair because he can't put 2 English words together. You know? Okay. Oh, good. What's the second one? And he said, I'm going to become a governor of a state in America, and it's probably going to be Florida, California.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh gosh. Well, okay. Well, I think you have to be American to do that. But okay, Arnold, good. What about the third one? And he says, I'm going to marry into the Kennedy family. Check, check, and freaking check. And he's
Talk about manifestation, right? Holy hell.
Out there you will receive all the time. We test and trial this till we're blue in the face, and it's true. Is what you put out there, what you believe in, what you attract with your thought patterns and the energy. We've done tests on, so the mind is energy. It sits inside the brain, hence the saying, mind over matter. So is the brain going to run the day? Yeah, when the mind tells it what to do. So we have to train the mind and the subconscious brain and conscious brain first thing in the morning. But the mind is, you can't see it, touch you, feel it. It's energy. When energy from your brain connects to another energy, a proper energy, and you do your work and your child does, so neural pathways change patterns, your DNA changes. You are not the same person as you were. We test this all the time with people. You're not the same person as you was when you walked in here. And that's what life's all about. It's like, I'm 65 now, okay? They say, let's say, I've never read the Bible, but in the Bible, it's 75 is the age. I got 10 birthdays left. I've got 10 Christmas times left. You think I'm going to sit around here and sit in my house all day and worry about people, what they think? No. I opened a British restaurant in San Antonio serving fish and chips and pie, all English food in San Antonio. They thought I was insane. Nobody would leave me alone for it. Don't be so stupid, Dr. Robbie. It's Tex-Mex country. I used my own money. I took 200 grand out and I opened the shop. I brought my sister over to run it, and it's in the top 6% of top restaurants in San Antonio.
That's awesome.
6%. And that includes chains and everything that's, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's like, set your mind, get your goal, move forward. That's it. Step forward. Just step forward, man. There's no shame in this game. No shame in my game today. Well, I know this about you. Well, good. I'm glad you do. But I cleared that shit with myself. Oh, I remember when you know, nobody knows in America that you stab your eye. Read the fucking book. It's all there. I've got nothing to worry. I've got no shame here. I'm not going to hide behind stuff, you know, because I learned a couple of things in my life. When you do, guys, when you take this advice and you go forward, or whether you call us or whatever, you can't work with me. I'm just saying. You have to remember a couple of things. When you start getting wealthy, people say money changes you. It does not. If you're a dick when you're poor, you'll be a dick.
You'll be a dick when you're rich. Yep.
Exactly. So stop listening to all these naysayers around you and take that opportunity. Turn nothing down. Nothing down. Don't matter. Do you want to go skydiving? Yeah. There's a reason why you're going skydiving. You might meet somebody. It takes my grandfather, who I never met, but he told my mom to tell me, fascinating guy, you have to make three new friends every day. Yeah. Because life's about connections. Even if it's not monetary, it's about connections, you know. We can't do this stuff around. We can't heal ourselves alone. We have to have people and circumstances around them we can heal from within. Depression, anxiety, any illnesses, cancers, everything that you can mention comes down to 2 things: toxicity and deficiency. What am I being poisoned by? Well, in America, it's huge. And how can I detoxify from that mineral, food, whatever it is? That causes all of the illnesses in the body, as well as oxygen. So the presence of oxygen equals the lack of disease. That's another thing that you need to get into, is we only breathe 45% of our lung capacity. 45%. Every disease in the human body starts in a hypoxic situation of the body. So when you go to do the weights, oh, I feel good. No, it's not the weight. It's this in between sets. That's why runners high. Get a runner's high or cyclers. you're getting oxygen, what we're not supposed to do. And that's one of the morning's routine that we tell our patients to do is get 100% oxygen. What that does is snuffs out the subconscious mind. The conscious brain loves oxygen. Subconscious, hypoxia, hate oxygen, because that's where the bad stuff happens. Once we get this guy going first thing in the morning, you're up and running, man. I'm telling you. I defy anybody to do this and fail.
So is that why, box breathing, breath work, and things like that are important to reset our mind?
Yeah, well, I created a company about a year ago called Breathbox Studio. Basically, it's software, and it's subliminal messaging, but mainly it's breath work. We say all sorts of kinds of breath work with the subliminal. So all you do is you put headphones on and an eye mask. We do it online as well. So just put the headphones on, and it reprograms the brain with oxygen and the software that we have with the subliminal messaging and stuff. It repatterns the brain. And we've used it for Alzheimer's. We've used it for podcasters, business guys. One guy came in about 3 months ago. I guarantee that his business will take over $1 million in 3 months. I'll give anybody his name, by the way, if you want to contact me. I'm not one of those guys. His company's doing $1.6 million right now.
Wow.
Because you've got a mindset shift. So it looks okay from here, but when you shift and take the blinkers off, it's like, I really can do anything I want to do, and nobody's watching me. Correct.
So a couple questions. What's harder, getting sober or staying sober?
Once you do the proper work, getting sober, for me, when the time was right, I could never get sober before. I stopped for a day, a week. When the time is right, the time has to be right. You have to learn your lesson to get sober. You're going to have to want it and different lifestyle. Staying sober. Let's take the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, which is the most fascinating book I've ever read pertaining to the recovered alcoholic. Follow that direction, and everything we know about neuroscience and the program that we teach, staying easy is nothing. You don't even have to worry about the compulsion to drink will be taken away, which will leave or use, which leaves the mind up to be freed. Now, in all our tests and research, we found this. Every alcoholic and addict that I've ever come across are geniuses. Once they change this, if I was to allow to tell you the people I've worked with that's running the country, or movie stars not, that changed, when they came here, changed, that were useless, that were no good, that were losing contracts, that were thrown out, that were in jail, big actors in jail that we had to pick up. Once you find out that, you'll be absolutely amazed. It's incredible. Alcohol doesn't pass my mind. The only time I talk about it is with 10% of our patients suffer from alcohol addiction. The rest of all the illnesses we just said, or lack of confidence or something. But staying sober is easy, man. But the compulsion to drink has to be taken away. This isn't a drinking problem. It's a thinking problem. So alcohol has 1% to do with alcoholism. Drop that on stage, you could hear it go silent. But that's the truth. It's not. I never had a drinking problem. I had a thinking problem. Where I hated Robb, and I wanted to sabotage Robb. Now, the 1% is tied to hereditary. We've traced the alcoholic gene back to fetus level. So there is a gene that exists that follows through families but skips generations. Whereas drug addiction is the addicted personality. Now, how do we know this? Well, 92% of people that come to my office or 5 around the world has a drug addiction, starting in the doctor's office. How do we know that?
You're talking about like opiates and stuff like that, like opiate addiction?
Yeah. Started on painkillers, now they're on the street. Moms, soccer moms, husbands, a wealthy banker or something. All them soccer moms, all them people that shouldn't be suffering because, oh my God, we're too good to suffer, all started in the doctor's office. So we found out this many years ago. So we started looking at the pharmaceutical industries. I was on a head-to-head with Purdue. Go Google it, guys. And life's going across the country. And I give it to them. They had their attorney there and their head of sales. And I told them truth that they didn't want to hear. And I said it loud. And the very next day, they filed for bankruptcy. We're not going to stay quiet. And when you get that mindset, nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop you.
In your opinion, what's the most overrated recovery advice?
Just stop. is what everybody used to say to me. Just, can you not stop because of your kids? Well, no. And I don't know why. There's no money in getting people well. Nobody's going to study addiction or alcoholism, because if they can't stick you with a drug or a treatment center or hospital, you're no good to America anymore. And I hate to say that, but there is a turn, guys, coming. Gary Brecker, 500,000. We're speaking to Robb Kelly right now with this Breathwork thing we have. It's like, there's a turn, man. Join the turn and wake up. Just wake up, man. Do it for yourself. Don't do it for the government. Don't do it for your local statesman or whatever you believe in. Do it for yourself. You owe it to yourself. You have to be ready to accept great things today. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you, like I said, and I say a lot, you have to have that limitless belief system, not a limiting belief system. Our brain is so freaking amazing, the supercomputer of the world. So, you know, kind of winding.
How do we know that is what I love to say to people about the limited belief. Well, we did our trials. We got 1,000 fleas, and we've heard this done before, but we do it ourselves. We stuck them in a big mason jar. We screwed the top and we put holes in the top, and we left them for 3 days. Now, fleas can jump 5 or 6 in the air. We took the cap off after 3 days. Not one flea jumped higher than where the cap was, which was interesting.
Right.
If they had babies in that jar, the babies wouldn't jump higher than where the cat was because they'd learned behavior, and they'd never even seen the cat, which blew our minds, which takes us to human beings. If your dad is this, if your dad never did anything, he was alcoholic, addict, lived off Social Security, you're probably going to follow that mindset. You have to change that mindset. And I want to add this. So when my girls were taken off me, I was in a stupor for 2 days. They weren't fed, or anyway, the police and the authorities took them off me. And my daughter said 3 things as she walked down the path with Mom. I'm certainly with unfit father papers. She said, Daddy, please don't go. Daddy, please get better. And he got to the final gate, 3 or 4 years old. She turned around and said, Daddy, please stop drinking. 30 years went by. I never saw them. I never spoke to them. I tried tracing them. I found him on Facebook and he blocked me. I just, 4 years ago, I'm the guy. It sounds glamorous, but it's not. I get a text at 3 o'clock in the morning saying be at the FBO, the airport, in an hour, and I got to go. So I heard this buzzer about 2, I don't know what time it is, 1, 2, 3 o'clock. And I grabbed for the phone, I looked at it, and it was my daughter, Charlie. After 30 years, she said, hey. She says, she called me Dad. She says, hey, Dad, I've seen you on TV over here. I think we should meet. It's about time. I don't believe everything Mum was telling me. He said, when can you come over? And we have people around us, as you can imagine. So within an hour, we're flying over to England. He gets there at night time. We stays in the hotel near her. The next morning, we're heading around to the house. I am crying, sobbing. I can't do this. I don't know, what sort of father was I? And it became real. And we got to the door, and I couldn't.
The shame, right?
Yeah. And she opened the door quickly, and we hugged and we cried what seemed like an hour. It's probably a minute. And this is where it all comes together, guys. She took me by my hand. She walked me into her living room, and she handed me my 3-month-old granddaughter.
Oh, beautiful.
Right there, and he was doing God's work. Right now, and he was. I said to God out loud, if you want to take me right now, I'm good, man. That girl is my lead therapist in my Manchester office right now, and has been for 3 years, yeah. So we get father and daughter working with a father and daughter many times. Or the guy's an alcoholic, and his daughter, is also suffering because he's an alcoholic. And yeah, we get to work with him. So everything comes round, man. It's not a battle. If you have to fight a certain illness, God bless you, man. It doesn't have to be like that. And I'm not saying, we've both said it, it's not easy. It took all my strength to survive, especially on the street. I woke up one morning, the guy next to me stabbed to death for his sneakers. I had to fight every day, bare knuckle fighting every day to earn money, or I'd steal just to stay alive on the streets. It was crazy, but this is what happens, man. I'm telling you, it's guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so happy that you repaired that relationship. That's amazing, and that just shows a testament, people, to the will of trying to change your life to be good, do good, and the world rewards that. I mean, and it probably was very hard, like you said, to go to that door and open that door. But once you jump in that darkness, now he has a beautiful relationship with his family that could have been gone forever. So, winding down the show, someone that may be listening to this episode right now that feels like they're too far gone, what do you want them to understand before they give up? And what legacy are you actually building right now?
Unless you've got severe brain damage, you have a chance. That's it. You have a chance. Okay. And realize what you're going through, what you've gone through. Again, it's not your worth. It's not punishment for anything. It's not parents' fault. It's not your fault. It's a lesson that you've been learned. My legacy is I never know how many people have helped. We have 11,000 patients, but I speak at conferences. So, it could be 17 million. Used to watch Eye Open. I was on there 3 times a week. But I know this, guys. When I get to heaven and I'm stood in front of God, you know what he's not going to ask me? How much was that car on? How much was that Bentley? How much is that house? Look at them gold Rolex. How much? He's not going to ask me that. He's going to ask me, I believe, one simple question. How many people did you help?
Mm.
I want a big number. So that's my legacy. I will never stop working. I will never retire. I feel the best shape of my life. I feel psychologically the best shape of my life right now. And I think there's a lot more work to be done. So yeah, I mean, just, have hope, man. Call us, we have an office here that my wife runs. And basically it's for people to call, usually the people that are suffering with an alcoholic. So moms, dads, wife or husband, if your loved one's going through it, and you're kind of going insane, or you two just call the number, man. It's on the website. Nobody's going to sell you anything. I know we just want to be there for you. Come and get our social media. I will warn you that all my social medias are done by a company apart from Facebook. So if you do, if you're feeling that place, in fact, this is what we'll do. If you're in that place we talked about, if you're that place where you are contemplating suicide and the world seems to be too far, 214-600-0210 is my personal cell phone number. Here's what's going to happen. Text me. Hey, I saw you on the show. I'll text you back almost immediately. And we'll arrange a 20-minute conversation on the phone, me and you, that will change your life. And if it doesn't change your life in 20 minutes, I'll send you $100 for wasting your time. What's the moral of the story behind that for me? I would rather spend 20 minutes of my time with you than hear of your suicide next week.
Mm.
Don't Google me. Many people years later, well, I Googled you, and you haven't got time for it. No, I'm from the streets. I'm streetwise. I've got my feet in the trenches. If we can help save a life by one call, make the freaking call. Don't Google me, please. The amount of times, man, it's just, come on, let's do it. Let's be together. Save a life today. Pull it all together. And hopefully one day, when you're doing whatever you want to do, rich, got your family back, got to go, whatever it is, I want you to say, that podcast we listen to, that Battle of Harder podcast with them 2 crazy guys on it, they saved my life. And do you know something? We'll be paid in full.
What a beautiful, beautiful message. So besides the number, and guys, this will be listed in the show notes as always, where else can people link up with you?
So if you're listening, not watching, I spell my name with 2 B's, ROBBKELLY.com. Here's the website. And go on there. Lots of fun. It's all the socials are on there. Have some fun. And listen, guys, there's a great book out there. It's called Daddy, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking. Do not buy it on Amazon. Please don't. That's my daughter. That's me wasted on one of the early visits that I had. It's the daughter and my granddaughter. Let's give 10 copies away. So either contact the show or come and find me and contact me. If you're in America, we'll send you, I'll sign it for you, especially for your name. I'll sign it for you. I'll pay the shipping and everything's free. I'll send it over to you. And on one condition, that you give it to somebody else that would benefit after you finish reading it.
Man, that's beautiful. And I'll definitely be posting that up, or this portion of the conversation, on my social media, because I would love to do that. That's amazing. So thank you, Dr. Robb, for that. Guys, final thoughts. A brain is really a terrible thing to waste. Your brain, that supercomputer, can hurt you or help you. Always lean towards the help. Remember, if you have issues or problems, getting help doesn't make you weak. It actually makes you stronger than most. Don't ever give up. You have one life. You have limited time on this earth. Go all in. Always bet on yourself before you bet on anybody else. As my wife always says, I love you, but I love myself more. If you don't love yourself, you don't have the ability to love anybody else fully. So guys, if you need to, listen to this 100 times every day, whatever you have to do to get your mindset right, because that is what's going to help you become the person that you need to be for yourself, for the people around you, and for society. And remember to help as many people as you can, because at the end of the day, that's what this world needs. We need more help, not more hurt. Dr. Robb, once again, man, this is one of my favorite conversations to date. Thank you for the energy. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to air this episode and do some more work with you with the books and on the back end. So thank you. If this episode resonated with you, it's likely because you're carrying more pressure than you should be carrying alone. Battle Harder exists for the high-performing professionals who want to regain clarity, structure, and control before burnout, identity loss, or the family damage becomes irreversible. New episodes drop weekly. You can learn more about my work at battleharder.com. Stay sharp, stay grounded, and always be fit for battle.